remember? Do you remember when I told you breaking the ring was just the beginning, not the end? Do you remember when I warned you that the clan still existed and was planning something much bigger? What I'm about to tell you tonight will prove that the real horror wasn't in the haunted house. The real horror was what came after. Get ready. Tonight you'll uncover the dark secret behind the clan's revenge. 3 months had passed since the house incident. I thought it was all behind me. I went back to my job as a journalist, trying to forget everything. But the nightmares wouldn't stop. Every night I saw King Sultan and his blood-red eyes. Every night I woke up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. One day, while I was working on an article about historical houses, I got a strange call. It was an old woman whispering on the other end. "Are you Murad, the grandson of Hajj Mahmud?" "Yes." "Who is this?" "I'm Hajja Saad. I'm from the same village your family's house is in. You need to come quickly. Strange things are happening. We need your help." My heart started racing. What happened? The house. It's been sold again. But every night, strange red lights come from inside. Children have started sleepwalking toward the house. And yesterday, 2 kids disappeared. I didn't want to go back to that cursed place. Every part of me was screaming no, but I knew I had to, especially when Saad told me the missing children were whispering before they vanished. "We want to go to Uncle Murad. Uncle Murad is waiting for us in the big house." I arrived at the village just before sunset. It looked completely different. People had locked themselves in their homes. The streets were eerily empty. And when I saw the house from a distance, I knew. The clan had returned. The house glowed with a deep red light from inside. Smoke rose from the broken basement window. I could hear strange music and the eerie laughter of children. The village chief, an elderly man, greeted me with fear in his eyes. "Murad, we're in deep trouble. Since the house reopened, it's like a magnet for the children. They're drawn to it in their sleep. The parents of the 2 missing boys said they saw them walking into the house in the middle of the night, against their will." I decided to go back inside, even though my body was shaking with fear. As I entered the main hall, I froze. The missing children were sitting in the center, their eyes closed, moving their arms as if playing a game with someone, laughing and saying, "Yes, Uncle Sultan, we'll play with you. We never want to go home again." I approached and tried to wake them, but they didn't respond. When I touched one of their hands, it was ice cold. I realized then the clan hadn't just returned, they had enslaved the boys. I went down to the basement. It was completely transformed. The ritual circle was larger, more candles, the symbols on the walls deeper and clearer. In the center, where the broken ring once lay, was a new ring, larger, stronger, etched with the faces of the 2 missing boys and written around it in blood. "For every child lost, the clan grows stronger. Every descendant of the traitor Murad shall pay the price. The clan shall never die. The clan will return stronger than ever." Suddenly, King Sultan appeared out of nowhere, but he looked different, taller, stronger, surrounded by the ghostly figures of the 2 boys, eyes glowing red, teeth sharp and white. "Welcome, dear grandson," he said. "Do you see what you've done? You thought you defeated us? We used their souls to build a new empire.
And you will be our first sacrifice." The boys came down into the basement, still in a trance, standing beside the king. They spoke in unison. "We are happy here, Uncle Murad. We don't want to go home. We want to stay with King Sultan forever." I tried talking to them, tried to wake them, but it was no use. The clan had taken full control of their minds. King Sultan looked at me and said, "Want to save them? There's only one way. Take their place. Become the clan's sole servant, and we'll let them go." "What guarantee do I have you'll keep your word?" He laughed, a terrifying laugh. "There are no guarantees in the world of jinn, Murad. What's your alternative? Let the children remain our slaves, or watch every child in the village disappear, one by one?" As I stood facing the impossible choice, I remembered something. Ahmed, the boy I met in the first visit, told me there were other ways to deal with jinn, stronger ways than breaking rings or sacrificing oneself. I said, "Let me speak to them, just for 2 minutes." "Why?" "To see if they're really happy, to make sure it's their choice." He agreed, too confident in his control. That's when I knew I had a plan. I knelt beside the boys and whispered, "Remember your moms, your homes, your toys, your school friends." At first, silence. Then tears began to roll down their closed eyes. "We want to go home. We are scared," they whispered. King Sultan screamed in fury. "What are you doing? You're ruining everything." "I'm reminding them who they really are," I said. "You're not slaves," I told the boys. "You're free children. You have the right to choose your lives." Suddenly, the older boy opened his eyes. They were back to normal. "I remember now. I was sleeping, and someone called me. I walked here without knowing." The second boy opened his eyes and cried, "I want to go home. He said I'd be a king, but I don't want to be a king. I just want to play with my friends." The clan began appearing around us screaming. Their power depended on total control, and now that control was breaking. King Sultan tried to reclaim the boys, but I stood between them and shouted, "I won't be a slave, and I won't let another child suffer for my ancestors' mistakes. You're just lost souls feeding on fear." Then I remembered the sacred iron rod I used last time. I had kept it in my pocket for protection. I pulled it out and began reciting the verses inscribed on it. A white light filled the room. The clan shrieked, this time not promising to return, but screaming as if they were being torn apart. And finally, just before vanishing, King Sultan said, "You did something different this time, Murad. This wasn't just strength, it was true faith. And we cannot fight true faith." The clan was gone, for good. The boys returned to normal, no trace of magic. We climbed out of the basement and left the house. What I saw outside convinced me the nightmare was finally over. The villagers were gathered, praying and reading Quran. The moment they saw their children, they ran and hugged them, crying with joy. Saad said, "We felt it. The evil left the house, and every child in the village woke up at the same moment, as if the spell had broken." Days passed. The house became just another abandoned house. No more red lights, no more sounds. Even the animals returned to the area, no longer afraid. Before I returned to Cairo, the chief told me something important. "Murad, what happened today wasn't just because of the sacred iron rod. It was because you chose to protect the children without thinking of yourself. The clan fed on fear and selfishness, but when faced with real love and sacrifice, their power shattered. That was something for both of us to understand. I returned to Cairo with peace in my heart, not just because the nightmare ended, but because I learned a powerful truth. No matter how strong evil is, true goodness is stronger. A year passed. Nothing strange happened. I sold the house to someone who wanted to turn it into a spiritual retreat. The villagers turned it into a place of prayer and remembrance. The rescued children grew up.
They now tell the story of their adventure as if it was a strange, scary dream. And I decided to write this story so the world would know evil is real, but goodness will always be stronger. But one night, as I returned from work, I saw a small boy standing in front of my building. His eyes were wide, too wide for his age, and staring at me strangely. I walked over and asked, "What do you want, kid?" He smiled, a strange smile, and said, "I just wanted to thank you, Uncle Murad. You helped me escape the clan." "Who are you?" "I'm Ahmed, the boy you met in the house the first time. My soul is finally free. I can rest now. Thank you. You showed me that love is stronger than fear." Then he vanished, just like that. That night, I realized I hadn't just saved 2 kids in the present. I had freed the soul of a child who died 50 years ago. This story taught me so much about life. It taught me that evil feeds on fear and selfishness, and that the greatest weapon against darkness is love and self-sacrifice. Now, whenever I see a scared child or someone in need, I remember this story, and I remind myself, each of us has the power to be a hero in someone else's story. And that, my friends, is the end of the clan of the Jinn. But this was just one of many stories I've lived, and others I've heard from people who faced strange and terrifying things just like I did. So, if you want to hear more haunted stories, tales of possessed houses, lost souls, and buried secrets, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment that says, "We want more horror stories," because I've got plenty more that will keep you up all night.